It's 6 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on when and where you're watching this Facebook Live. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Olabintan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Livingspring Family Medical Center here in the awesome city of Mansfield, Texas, where we help our patients live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. And I'm really pumped to have with us Dr. Josel Doyle. She's going to be talking with us today on the topic, Doc, I want to increase my energy. Any tips? Doc, thank you so much for coming. How are you? And welcome.
Thank you so much for giving me this honor of being able to do this with you. It's been a pleasure, and I have been following you for just as much the same time too. So being able to have this honor of being here and sharing these tips and just sharing my story, I thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. And you know what I didn't highlight back behind the scenes? We both have gap tooth. Sorry, I'm sorry to highlight that now, but yay! Love it. Okay, so I'm gonna focus back and I'm gonna ask, for those who are watching live, please hashtag live, and if you're watching replay, hashtag replay. But Doc, can you introduce yourself to us? Who are you and what do you do?
All right. So I am Josel Doyle. I am Dr. Josel Doyle. I am a physician entrepreneur, which means I am a full-time neonatologist. And I also embark on my entrepreneurial journey with both affiliate and network marketing. And I am a daughter, I am a speaker, I am an aunt, I'm a sister, and I am a woman of God that absolutely love giving God the glory for everything that He has blessed me with.
Awesome. I also want to add that you're a caretaker and you're the CEO of JAADs, JAADS, Purpose
Yes.
Position Entrepreneur Driven. Um, you do this to help other single, God-driven female physicians build a life of health, wealth, and legacy using hydration and personal development. That's a big deal to highlight, Doc. I was not going to let you not talk about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very important. What you do is powerful. So thank you for what you do and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now, my next question to you is this, Doc. Why do you do what you do? Is there a strong-
Oh, that's a big one. Honestly, so obviously we've all been through the pandemic. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned is how much our jobs are disposable.
Hmm. Hmm.
And at the time, and that really hit home for me because we had one of our oldest neonatologists who's been in this business for 30 something years, mind you, 25 years. And again, because of the pandemic and having to do budget cuts and all of that stuff, they had to be let go.
Hmm.
And just imagine not being prepared for that, despite
Right.
everything that's going on.
Right.
And then obviously, the ripple effect of that is then you having to do all the additional shifts and then dealing with burnout. So it was a twofold process. And
Hmm.
thankfully, I love what I do because neonatology has always been my passion. I was a former preterm baby, and I literally became obsessed with the possibility of me being able to do the same thing because
Hmm.
my pediatrician at the time was a little short Indian lady that from the time I met her, I was absolutely obsessed of wanting to be like her because she was my first representation of what
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
power of a woman was.
Hmm.
And once I realized how disposable we were and how much we always put a lot into what we do, right? Because that's what
Right.
we want.
Right.
With a detriment many times that we literally don't pour into ourselves because we were always taught to keep giving for our patients. Many times sacrificing our family time, most times even sacrificing our health. And at the time, I realized that burnout was literally knocking on my door for the fact that obviously we had all these additional shifts to do. And again, as I said, I wasn't pouring into myself. At the time, I didn't recognize that that was what I was dealing with.
Right.
I was coming home and I was exhausted because I do 24-hour shifts, and
Hmm.
that in itself is exhausting. With the fact that I had poor eating habits. And prior to this, I never drank water. Funny thing is, I literally tried everything when it comes to hydration. I tried carbonated water. I tried just drinking juices, Gatorades, and all of these things. And as you know, whenever you consume all of these high sugars, it actually gives you a ripple effect of making your tiredness and fatigue even worse. So I actually came across another fellow physician who is an OBGYN, and she was talking about her life transformation. And when I came across her story, I was like, this just sounds too good to be true. And of course, like a typical scientist and physician, I was 100% skeptical. At the time, I was also a complete bottled water family where it's the only water that my household drank. For me, it didn't really matter because I already struggled to drink it. And I realized that one of the things that I needed to do was start working on my health because it's something that I always take for granted because I'm a small, petite person and I've always been relatively healthy.
Okay.
And once I realized how tired I was when I came home, I did not have that same fulfillment, that same joy, and that happiness when I got home. And at the time, I realized outside of burnout being on my doorstep, that I really needed to start changing things because I realized when I came home and I interacted with my parents, I was super cranky, I was super moody. I had daily headaches at the time. And I realized one of the ways for me to do it, and again, we all know the importance of water. Water is literally the vitality of life. And for me, I realized at the time, maybe this is where I start. So I did. But I specifically started by drinking Kangen water, which is produced from a water ionizer that basically is water hitting electricity that gives you all its additional properties. So outside of just hydration and all the benefits of hydration, you actually drink water that has additional health benefits of anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Honestly, when I started drinking it, when I tell you it was the tastiest liquid that I've ever drank, I am not exaggerating. Mind you, I told you prior to this,
You're
people used
skeptical.
to be drinking water. All right. So when I started drinking it, I realized a lot of the symptoms that I used to have, even medications that I had to take, I didn't have to take anymore because I was finally being hydrated. So the
Wow.
biggest thing, I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I said, wow.
So the biggest thing for me was my energy, which I know is the topic for today. I literally went from, even when I do my 24-hour shifts, I am able to still come home and have all the energy to do all of the things that before I used to come home and fall asleep. I used to come home and always have daily headaches. I used to come home and be super cranky. Outside of the fact that obviously I just completed a 24-hour shift, which, working in the ICU with the most critical babies in itself is stressful enough. So I guess I had enough reasons to be like that, right? But no, I didn't want to continue. I realized that I needed a change. So for me, it literally started with hydration and the ripple effect that I was able to get. Because the beautiful thing outside of the properties this water has, it truly hydrates you from the inside out. There's a lot of things that we do on the outside. Like we try to lotions our skin and all these things, hoping that we are going to be able to have moist, hydrated skin. But the reality is, if we're not taking the appropriate things inside, it's not going to show on the outside. So for me, that was the biggest thing that I realized, that the highs that you get when you drink things like coffee and these heavy sugary drinks, that high that you get that crash. Now that I've been drinking my water, I have a consistent energy that I don't have these waves. And honestly, I've never drank coffee. So for me, I've always had my energy from adrenaline and just eating and all of these things. So I never had the effects of caffeine and all these things to get me going. It was always literally adrenaline for the most part. And then all these sugary drinks. So I don't have the highs and lows anymore. And honestly, when I tell you, being able to not have the symptoms of the daily headaches, being able to concentrate. And you will be surprised at just that little change, how
Hmm.
much it literally helped me to be able to show up not only as the happier version of myself,
Hmm.
but also being the most thankful and less moody version of myself, which my household will tell you they're pretty thankful for.
I bet. I bet. So I thank you for that powerful intro as to why you do, because you learned from your own personal experience, and so now you're able to empower people
Right.
emphatically because you've lived it. You've been in their shoes. So my next question to you is this: for someone who's watching, who's like, yeah, I don't think my energy is low. I don't. I think I'm good. Are there ways one can tell when their energy levels are low? Are there telltale signs that maybe are not so obvious, like you're about to slump over in sleep? Are there other signs that you could tell when someone's energy levels are low?
So some of the biggest signs for the most part is, as you said many times, is just being able to get daily tasks done,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So one of the things that I realized when I started this was even with being able to read. And again, that's where dehydration really comes in and not having that energy to be able to focus. So just being able to sit down and do just regular tasks, even just sitting down and being able to read, whether it's your article or a book,
Hmm.
without having that where you feel like you literally have to push yourself to get it done versus it just naturally flows. Or just for the most part, being able to actually get your daily activities around the house. Honestly, for me, because I do 24-hour shifts, I was able to feel when my energy, because again, I'm so used to the highs
Hmm.
and lows of the always having been on that adrenaline rush, you literally feel like you're walking like a zombie. So that energy that you normally feel to be able to just get a regular task done feels like you're working twice as
That's
hard
hard.
to be doing
Hmm.
it. Along with the fact that it actually shows up as depression also.
Hmm.
You don't want to do anything. When you come home, you're like, the first thing you want to do is to lie down and not do anything. So you have no motivation to go and cook. You have no motivation to go outside and play with your kids. You have no motivation to want to leave the house to do quality time. So for me, that was one of the things that I realized is I was on the verge of depression. Even though, yes, I was high functioning, I was still able to do the things. Getting just my daily tasks done
Hmm.
felt like additional work. And I know for me, those were some of the ways that I realized that my energy level was there because it took twice as much to be able to get just regular tasks done. Even just getting up and wanting to go and take a shower and all of those things, you're not motivated.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, you heard it. These are signs that tell you where your energy levels are low, even though you may not know it as such, because you feel like, well, I'm still able to kind of drag through the day. And that leads to my next questions. Though you already addressed this somewhat, but I want us to emphasize some of it more. What are natural ways to increase energy?
So hydration is your number one goal. For me, that's always going to be my game changer, is always going to be the one thing that I would advertise for everybody. We take it for granted because the reality is we need water to survive. 60 to 70% of our bodies are made up of water. And at the end of the day, you also have to be mindful of what water, because not all water is created equal. All right.
Ah,
One of the things that I realized, like even when you drink tap water, I don't realize how many of us actually pay attention to what the inside of our pipes look like, or even,
about it.
yeah,
I don't want to think about it.
yeah, yeah, most of us don't. And again, that's where the problem comes in, is that when you educate yourself, you're like, oh, all right. And it's one of the reasons why they always advocate for you consider always having a filter, right? Because with that, you also have to keep in mind a lot of our pipes are lead. Lead leaks into your water. As a pediatrician, we know the effects of long-term lead that literally comes in your water. There's things like arsenic and all of these things that have associations on your health. All right. So that becomes one of the things. Also, when you keep in mind, when you drink bottled Bottled water have an expiry date on it. Most of us aren't aware of that. And the reason there is that the plastic that your water is in actually leaches out into your water. And you actually consume microplastics from consuming bottled water. All right.
Oh boy.
Also, keep in mind all of these plastics that you use, remember what it does to the environment. The pollution of the oceans, our landfills with all of these plastics contributing to pollution and all of these things. So when I realized that I was able to not only drink water that allowed me to have additional benefits, it allowed me to cut back on my plastic waste. It also gave me several other cost-saving benefits, along with also eliminating a lot of the chemical exposure that we expose ourselves to because of a lot of the chemical agents. Because the beautiful thing about our water ionizer is that it gives you 7 water types. So outside of just the 3 water types, which is giving you that alkalinized water, and that's one of the things. So there's benefits yourself for drinking alkaline water. And for me, one of the biggest things that I love about it outside of the taste, it actually helps you to be able to recover when you exercise. Prior to me finally hydrating myself, I couldn't work out. And a lot of it went back to the fact that I had no energy prior to being hydrated. And now, because I drink this alkalinized water, it helps me to be able to recover faster. And I don't have all of this buildup of acid reflux and lactic acid after you work out. So it actually helps to replenish your muscles and help you to get back to doing it again the next day without having that burning fatigue that you feel. And then some of the other water types, you're able to get cleaning agents, you were able to actually get mouthwashes, sanitizers. So it also allows me to be able to cut back on a lot of products that I used to have to buy that I now are able to produce with this machine and basically producing all of these 7 water types and also having over 68 different holistic uses.
Wow. Wow. So hydration you've emphasized as key to also maintaining your energy and preserving your energy and building your energy, but not just any water, not just tap water. Even bottled water is questionable. Now you're talking about alkalized water, and you could get that. You mentioned an iron. Can you explain that a little bit more?
So
And
it's a water ionizer. It's a little, and I'm trying to decide if I could actually move my computer so I could actually show you what it looks like.
yes,
It's literally,
think of something.
what's that?
I'm like, is it a big tank? Is it something heavy? I'm
No,
curious.
that's why I want to show it to you so you will see exactly what I'm talking about. It is literally a medical grade device. And I'm going to show it to you how big it is. So this is the machine. As you can see, it's not that big. It literally just takes up a little bit of counter space.
Wow.
And there are 6 different modes, but whenever you do the acid water on this, it actually produces a strong acid water, a strong alkaline water also that you can use as your agent for cleaning mirrors and all of these things. So as you can see, it's really not a big machine. It's actually pretty small. That gives you all of these additional cost-saving benefits, health benefits. It's actually a Japanese medical device that they actually use in hospitals in Japan to be able to produce all of these things.
Wow.
So outside of the water, because that's what I fell in love with, was the water.
Wow. Wow.
Always share all of the other water types and the benefits that you get from it. And there's also a beauty water. So for those of us who like to do facials and all that, you get to do that in your own home. All right. And when I tell you, for me, outside of, we all know hydration helps with your skin itself.
It does.
Being able to actually have the beauty water that's already the same pH as your skin, you can get to use it as things as your toners, again, as I said, you have so many cost-saving benefits when it comes to the beauty products. It is phenomenal. And honestly, when you start realizing the effects that you get from truly being hydrated and also just being able to pour into yourself and take care of yourself without having all these additional costs, and being able to do these things at home and actually enjoy being in your home, because that's also one of the big benefits that a lot of us tend to overlook. We always feel like we have to leave our homes to be able to enjoy the simple pleasures in life. And this allows me to do it in my home and being intentional about my time. So that becomes one of the other tips I will always say, is literally taking the time to invest in yourself. For me, I also tied my hydration journey with doing my devotions every day. So literally when I get up, which is a big energy booster. So after drinking water, the first time when you get up in the morning, a minimum of 8 ounces. Your goal is usually 8 to 32 ounces. If you can actually jumpstart your day with hydration, it allows you to have that energy to be able to jumpstart your day and kickstart your day to continue. So for me, I actually tied that in with making sure that I start my day with my devotions every day, with my prayer and my quiet time. And that in itself changes your mindset
Yes, it
and
does.
places you in a period of gratitude that gives you energy that is unbelievable outside of just the hydration piece of it.
So water for your body,
Mhm.
water for your spirit.
And water for my spirit. There you
Yeah,
go.
hydrate the
Yep.
body, you hydrate the spirit, and you hydrate the soul.
Yep.
Beautiful.
That's literally what I do. I hydrate my body, mind, and soul while I get to unlock and unleash my inner warrior. Because literally, we all know that we have to be up and about fighting battles every day to be able not only just showing up as physicians, not only just showing up as women, but being able to show up as God's army. So
Mm, mm. That is powerful. And that is why it's important for us to take care of ourselves, because we carry the assignment in this body.
mhm,
Now, I love how you say the things that we need to do um, to help preserve our energy. But are there habits or things we need to take out?
100%.
What are things
So
you say, or maybe three things, no nos, you advise that we take out because those sap or they deplete energy?
yes, diet is number one. Being mindful of what we fuel our bodies with. So a lot of these processed foods, these sugar foods, they give you a high, but they also give you that crash. So it's very mindful of what you eat. So of course, it's making sure that you have a balanced meal with proteins, fruits and vegetables are going to be key. And if you could eliminate or minimize your processed foods and sugars. Sugars, as we all know, has a lot of long-term effects, whether it's for your weight gains, for being able to build up fat, which then leads to a lot of toxins being remained in your bodies and all of these things. Keeping those things in mind becomes one of the biggest things, is what I will always say. So outside of hydration, what you eat makes a big difference. The second thing I would say is making sure you take time to rest and recover.
Hmm.
We take sleep for granted.
Yeah.
Mind you, I do 24-hour shifts, so I know what it's like when I can't get to rest, but I
Mm.
make sure that my next day that I get a minimum of 8 hours of sleep on my regular days that I can. So that many times will mean at a specific time at nights. For me, 10 o'clock is typically my bedtime when I'm not working my 24-hour shifts, which means I take off all devices an hour before. And that typically tends to be my time where I will try to do meditation, quiet time, whether you choose to do your gratitude journals or devotionals, or you actually take your 30-minute time to read for personal development
Mm.
becomes one of the things. And making sure that when you put your phone down, for me, obviously, when I'm on regular calls, I always have to keep my phone on. So it's trying to minimize those days that I actually am not on call, that my phone is off. So there's nobody calling you and waking you up, and making sure that you stay consistent to getting that rest. And then recovery becomes important for me in particular whenever I do my 24-hour shift, is making sure that you take time out for you. A lot of us think that self-care means always going out and getting nails done and all of these things. Yes, that may be a bonus, but literally taking time to rest and decompress becomes super important to do.
Hmm.
All right. And then the third thing that I would say is taking time out to have fun. Taking time out to spend with the people that you love and doing the things that you enjoy. Because at the end of the day, you can keep giving out if you don't take time to replenish and pull back into yourself. So having that time for fun, whether that's fitness or actually doing things with your kids, with your family members. So for me, many times it's meaning being intentional with spending time with my parents, oftentimes when they're here with me. So whether we go out and eat, we find something fun to do, just being intentional, even if it just means sitting on the couch and chilling and watching television together,
Hmm.
just being intentional about that time makes a big difference.
So many things you dropped, and I didn't tell her about the fruits and veggies. She did that on her own, because sometimes it feels like I say that over and over again. But I love it, the self-care and what that means to you, really caring for yourself. You mentioned the foods, the highly processed foods, how they take you up and literally drop you.
Yep.
Yeah, to get you high and then to drop you. So very, very important. These are energy zappers or energy depleters that we need to
Mm.
try to minimize or eliminate. You have shared so many things with us today. I'm really, really happy we had this conversation. I've learned a lot even about the particular type of water that you drink, how that can affect your energy level. I would definitely do more research and reach out to you as well. And I'm looking forward to you sharing some more of that information through your platforms as well. Now, that being said, I know people are wondering, this doc, I've never heard water described this way before.
Mm.
I love the self-care tips and I want to connect with her, maybe to come speak on my platform on a group of women, or heck, I don't know, they want to come see you as their as the baby, as someone to deliver their baby that they suspect may be preterm. I don't know what the situation might be that would call for you to see them, but
Right.
where can people find you?
So people can find me on all platforms. I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok. And if you search Josel Doyle, you will find me on all platforms at this point. I am on each platform. My bio does have a link to everything that I'm attached to. For me, I truly believe in water in your life. I truly believe in being able to rejuvenate and reinvigorate your life by literally starting with hydration. It's the one thing that many of us overlook, and it's truly a game changer. It was my game changer
Hmm.
because not only was I able to transform my health, it literally allowed me to build on my 5 F's, as I always say. Um, Primarily starting with faith and family. They've always been my principal
Hmm.
foundations, and it's one thing that I continue to build on. I also started with my business with Jade Purpose, and I'm in the process of actually creating all of my websites and all of these things, so it makes it easier for people to be able to plug in. But in the meantime, you can find me on all platforms, and there you'll find my link, even for the machine that I shared, being able to create that eco sanctuary. If you want to learn more, it's on my bio there. And of course, you're always welcome to DM me, and I will gladly spend time to share with you. It's my passion. And I want to be able to help others
Hmm.
like myself to be
Hmm.
able to find that renewed purpose, that renewed passion. And I can honestly say it's because of hydration that you see me being able to show up this way, and also being able to remove the labels. Because I can honestly say, prior to this journey,
Hmm.
my identity was always my profession.
Ah,
And now I can tell you, first thing first, my identity is that I'm a child and a woman of God first, and then
yes,
everything else comes after.
that's right. That's right. That's right. Well said, Doc. Well said. Thank you so much. And we're going to have all that information put on the comment section so people can connect with you one-on-one or as a group to come as a speaker or whatever avenue they want you to join
Thank you.
on. So thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate you big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. And for those of you who have been watching us, thank you for joining. Remember, caring is sharing. Be sure to just simply forward this video to your friends, to family members who will find this very, very useful. It's amazing what the small changes done consistently can do as far as making a big difference in your quality of life. And if you or anyone you know is looking for a thorough, a passionate, and a caring family physician here in the Mansfield, Texas area who will help you live long and well by the grace of God, I am she. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.